We are rolling. I can find you guys. Here we go. Hello, my loves. We did it. We're in. We are rocking. We are rolling. Happy, happy day. Another beautiful day in the age of Pisces. So much fun to be jamming with each of you. Thank you for taking the time today. I am beyond thrilled and excited for where we get to head. Um, so often when we're working with Pisces, we aren't, Pisces is such a big, broad, vast field that capturing it and grasping what it is and the way in which it can serve us is is not always obvious, right? So hopefully today in our meditation, we're going to harness the powers and the gifts that come through the Piscean archetypes, the Piscean activations, and the energy and the flow that's here, because it is Pisces is the psychic realm. It is the eternal essence of who and what we are. And um, there's so much beauty associated with all of it. So, what I want to have you do, I'm going to continue to talk a little bit about Pisces. But before I do that, I want to have you start to jam in your breath, just starting to get us warmed up. And I'll just continue to weave kind of both conscious and the unconscious realm together. So, breath in, holding at the top, exhale out, and another breath in, holding at the top for a beat, and then exhale out. And then one more breath in, holding at the top, and then slowly, like you're holding a balloon to keep it from deflating too fast. Nice, slow exhale out. I want to have you continue this rhythm with the breathing in and out. Kind of start through your breath once you feel like you've got the breath under a new pace and rhythm, finding your own. Then I want to have you start to jump to light link, envisioning that sun shining down. But what I want to connect with you in also as you're doing this little mini warm up on your own is Venus and Mars. We can't talk about Pisces without first talking about what Venus and Mars have for us today, what they're activating for us. And we've just are completing a 2 week window where the two planets actually conjunct themselves in the Aquarian phase. And it is that masculine inner, not just fiery energy of Mars, but also stalwart, right? If you think about the sun, it is consistent, it shows up, it's boom, 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 boom every day, rising, setting, rising, setting. It sets the pace, it sets the rhythm for everything we're up to. And Venus holding and harnessing that energy, much more of flow and of the butterfly. Think of the moon. It rises, it gets full, it wanes, it gets to a new moon, it waxes, all of the different cycles. And while there's rhythm and cycle to it, it also is much lighter in its aspect. It is much broader. It is dancing through and inviting us out of the rhythm of consistency that the Mars energy, the masculine energy is setting. And so, why I'm speaking to this as I'm inviting you to do some of that Mars energy and find that nice, consistent breath, not wanting you to go too far into the feminine yet, just kind of gently touching on it by imagining the first part of that light link with the sun coming down, is that as these two are conjuncting, they came close over the summer. They came close over the summer. They were within 4 degrees of each other, and they are back together again now. We're just completing this cycle and in the Aquarian phase. So it's been all of these retrogrades, Pluto in Aquarius for the first time, all of these things that happened. Then Mars and Venus representing the sacred marriage are perfect conjunction in this 2 week window. This does not happen. This doesn't happen all the time. In fact, the next time they will come back together won't be until 2026, especially in an exacting form. So what's here, what this does is it forges a path for us intuitively to be able to fully sync up these inner psychic gifts, which is the field of Pisces. And so in Venus, unlike Mars, it's just kind of slowly trudging its way with that rhythm and that beat to its own drum. Venus is dancing out to Pisces. We're actually on that cusp of heading, actually, by now, we're probably, Venus has gone back into Pisces. And she's going to continue her loop coming back around. By the time she comes back around to here, Mars will be opposite in Leo, squaring in Leo. So a lot of that energy, we're going to be, and that'll be in the July timeframe that we have that. So again, this is that foundational aspect of our inner energy, of your intuitive channel. So there's a lot for us to harness here today, and we get to harness it in an incredible Piscean field of collectiveness, of oneness, as the moon is in her new space here, and as we are in the energy of this Piscean brilliance. So with that, let's begin our journey into the intuitive psychic realm. Breathing in and out now, just allowing yourself to glide on your breath, finding a really nice, consistent, natural rhythm as we call upon the sun shining down upon us. Feeling its warmth, feeling its softness, feeling its intensity at times, and then shifting to the earth and feeling your feet beneath you as we invite, like we did yesterday, those energetic waters to rise around us. So again, let's do a couple breaths, breathing in and raising the field up to the sun. Usually we're bringing the sun down and in. Let's raise that earth energy up to the sun through the breath, exhaling out. It's like we're pumping the well of that liquidy, emotional Piscean energy, raising it up, exhaling out, breathing in, raising that inner liquidy, luminescent energy up and exhaling out. And it should feel like we're filling a bucket, we're filling a pool, we're filling your energy field with this liquidy essence of energy. And in a moment, we're going to activate it. Go ahead and continue with that breath, imagining fluffing, almost like fluffing that aura up, but you're drawing that life force energy up through your feet until you feel like we've entirely filled your entire energy body from the feet to the top of the head, as though we are now submersed just under the surface of a pool, and we can look up and see the sun right there. Actually, we could even imagine the top of our head just above, peeking above the surface of the water and feeling that heat, but feeling our bodies in that under realm of luminescent light and energy. And in a moment, I want to ask you to invite it, to feel as though you've turned that crystal quartz on at the center of the earth, almost like hitting a switch, allowing the energy in. And as you do, it's like rainbows of light begin to fill the pool all around you. So going from just a liquidy nature to the pool being full, your energy field being completely filled with water. And as we feel into the Piscean realm, what's here for us are our psychic and intuitive abilities. Pisces is all that is. It's not just the intensity and the rhythm and the beat of the masculine energy and the action. Pisces is the gift of listening, not just communication, but truly we use the Piscean field, our intuitive gifts, especially from the Venus perspective, to listen. It's almost like Mars and Pluto like scoured the field for us, opening new channels. And so we get to come together today to turn on and tune in to the new elements, to the new dimensions that are here for us to listen to. So licking your lips, relaxing your jaw. Let's head into this psychic, energetic realm. I want to have you first call forward your clairaudience. We're going to begin with clairaudience. I want to have you find a rhythm in a sound. For me, the easiest is always the sounds of the ocean or the sound of a heartbeat. I'm going to have you call forward for your psychic gifts that sound. And no, it doesn't have to be a loud, booming voice, although the more we practice sensing and feeling and hearing different sounds intuitively, the more we attune our energy field to hearing at a greater capacity and degree. And now I want to have you imagine hearing a flock of birds chirping, singing as they fly through the brush, through the canopy of trees in the Amazon. Sounds of the jungle. And asking yourself, because this is a quantum principle for us to be able to bilocate and to sense and hear, asking yourself as you envision yourself within the depth in this moment. Oh, I just used the word envisioning. As you're hearing yourself within the depth of the jungle, is it in this moment that we have pinged on an actual flock of birds? Or are you calling upon opening that part of yourself that is Piscean, that is part of the vast, eternal landscape of our souls, the eternal nature of your soul, which is sat in the trees, in the canopy, at different lifetimes, throughout different lifetimes, listening to the sound and the chorus of these birds. For the Piscean field is not just in this moment. It is not just the activities and this lifetime that you are up to. It is not just this purpose. It is the essence of you that reaches lifetime through lifetime through lifetime, through your soul lineage. And as these two fields come together, your bloodline mirroring up with your soul, you picked this bloodline, you picked this avatar with these genetics and the ability to turn on through your soul line these frequencies that are eternal. So go ahead now and let's shift to that of the woodlands, North American woodlands, and cardinals and blue jays and sparrows. Allow yourself to feel and to sense the difference in the trees and their lineage and their magic and their wisdom, and the sounds, the difference in the sound of wind through these trees versus where we had been before. And notice how quickly and easily you jump, you make that leap. It is not just this lifetime in this moment that you're drawing on. The Piscean field activates all of these elements. As we are working this, and as I call forward these different images, I invite you to turn up the volume on your clairvoyance. Your clairvoyance. Breathing in and out. Your capacity and your ability to see, to sense in your mind's eye, And again, to be able to see the energy with your eyes open, the merging of your inner and your outer vision takes a certain acuity. It takes a certain level of skill, activation, certain hardwiring within the body, as well as programming, software programming, archetypal awarenesses. So in this moment from this Piscean field, I invite you to activate that version of yourself that has before, with eyes open, seen the forest and the trees, seen the field of Pisces around you as you hold this physical space in this room, or maybe you're outside, wherever you may be. Oftentimes, one of the easiest ways for us to activate the clairvoyance is to simply envision an angel. And as I've shared with all of you, I believe by this point, affirming, I can see you, I can hear you, I can feel you, not only for them and the consciousness of all that is, the unity consciousness and this similar frequency that we all transmit upon, but to affirm in your energy body, to let go of the reins that hold you tight, for you learned, we all learned that to activate and to utilize these gifts in this timeline, if we were to act on it, we're going to be told we're crazy. You're telling people that you can see the other dimensional realm, at least the way we were raised, right? And that also opens the frontier for many of you have kids and gifts that can see. And we know, at least I know as a parent, that meant that literally my kids were able to see the boogeyman, which wasn't really the boogeyman, but maybe it was beings of dimensional realms. And there is an inherent feel into that. There's an inherent fear, a survival mechanism that goes beyond just fitting in as a human, but an inherent survival mechanism of what do you do with that? For in this Piscean field, it can be overwhelming. And so how have you turned the volume down and stopped tuning in? I want to move next to clairsentience, which interestingly enough was a psychic sense that was activated for a lot of people with COVID. There was one symptomatic response around COVID of being able to smell cigarettes and some other bizarre things in the field. Just an interesting observation. And yet I know each of you in your own space and time has experienced it. Oftentimes, especially with the mediumship space, the smell of a cigar or the smell of a cigarette from that density level. Where I want to take you now is to the smell of a field of lavender, or the fragrant smell of the angels and gardenias and jasmine, or the smell of the rose, or the deep smell of earth, soil that's just been turned damp, cold, springtime. We know that the smell it's not soil that's registered in your brain, and it's not gardenia that's registered in your brain. There is no molecule of that scent, the chemicals that create these scents stored in your cells. But it is this psychic Piscean realm through the quantum. We could have a whole quantum conversation. Actually, next week we will. We're going to dive into how all of this Piscean field translates to the quantum, but that's for next week. Breathing in and out. Allowing yourself again to be bilocating. So let's bilocate. Let's do first some bilocation. We've already done it by going to the woodlands and the forest, but now allow yourself to bilocate through the scent. New scent, skip off of the flowers. Let yourself be pulled in to a dimensional realm that maybe you've been to before, maybe you haven't, but one that is strong, a smell that is strong. For me, it carries me to a space in my life, a former home where I used to do a lot of burns. It also brings forward the smell of my grandmother, who I spent very little time with, baking bread. Go ahead and just find that random scent and let yourself be carried to that. And moving outside of it, not just the memory that gets activated, but allow yourself to step out and observe yourself in that moment in time. And so there is the moment, there's you that was imprinted in that moment, and now there is the observational you, observing this particular memory. Breathing that scent in. And in a moment, we're going to activate claircognizance, but we're going to do it through some astral projection. So I want to have you find, let's see here. I'm seeing color. I'm seeing a couple different things. We're getting to play with this meditation today. I want to have you go ahead and grab, imagining grabbing a thread of color and pulling on it. Give it a pull and keep pulling, keep pulling. We're using some quantum manifestation here. As you pull on that thread, it's pulling you towards a light. It's as though we're pulling this field into our realm. Notice I'm not having you project out of your body right now. We're bringing a different quantum dimensional space reality in. And I'm not calling any specific time or place in. At the end of this thread is going to be an orb of brilliant, bright, white light. And it's almost as it comes closer and closer, it's as though this white light goes from being a small orb to opening into a field of energy, almost like the orb opens like a mouth or opens like a flower. Its essence, its frequency opening for you, as though the thread you're pulling on becomes like a tunnel that just opens and you find yourself in it, stepping through and into this white dimensional space. Allowing yourself to be flooded by the energies that are here as we call forward, and just in the next breath, land it, landing where you've called yourself to. Another dimensional realm outside of your human body and the lineage, if you will, the lifetime lineage, but truly letting yourself be in another dimensional space and time, noticing your energy body. Do you have physical human form? Do you have starseed form? Do you have your higher self goddess or god form? Just observe. It may be dark at first, so truly using that essence of claircognizance, the knowingness within you, feeling the heartbeat, feeling the light. All of these realms are fully within your capacity to reach. Our challenge is trusting them, knowing them, knowing what to do with them so that we can create that dimensional coherence. All right, by now you should feel yourself maybe landed in a different dimensional temple space. And I say temple oftentimes because that's the easiest spot for us to project to. But it may be that you find yourself very much on a different, feeling like you're in a different planet, different energy. If you've traveled, projected to Pleiades, it may feel very watery, like a water world type of energy. Again, Pleiades is Piscean in its nature, highly psychic. You've gone, well, I was hearing Arcturian, but wanting to say Syrian, it's much more trees and temples and elven in its nature. All that aside, you don't need these big, broad details. That's really for the human construct. What I want to have you do here is turn up your psychic gifts. Remember, Pisces and Venus are opening new dimensional awarenesses. You may feel yourself much like you're in an avatar. So there are elements and colors coming off and expressing you. As humans, we pretty much have the six senses wired in: our touch, taste, smell, hearing, knowing. But what if there are a seventh and an eighth? I want to have you use telepathy here. What awarenesses do you have of beings around you, of loved ones surrounding you? Allowing your mind to stretch out as though in this dimensional realm you have the capacity to read minds and also have your mind be read. The gift of knowing how to turn it on and how to block thoughts. How many of us actually do that? How many of us block thoughts in our human realm? Do you ever consider that that's one aspect of your capacity for telepathy? Go ahead in this realm as you feel these angels or beings, star beings around you, and turn your thoughts on, imagining just putting that new program in, booting that new program, clicking on that app, if you will, to allow yourself to read the minds of those around you. You don't need to know what's saying. As a human, your first perception is always going to be in the emotional capacity, because that is how we bring life into existence, is through the emotions. We translate through the emotions. The emotions then trigger the images in the mind. Knowing this process, practicing it. There's one particular, if we're standing in a circle of beings that are star beings, angels, loved ones in this realm, there's one, as you begin to tune in using your using your clairs. For me, it's seeing, sensing, feeling one being that is particularly brighter than the others, almost in golden light, like a heart beating. And I can feel the heartbeat of that one soul, as though that heartbeat is glowing in love. And almost like ET, I can sense the other heartbeats of all those surrounding me turning on. And here we are again, the sound and the rhythm, much like with the earth. Are we not, when we envision hearing the ocean or the rhythm of the heartbeat using telepathy, just speaking a different language? For us as humans, we expect, we demand that language gets spoken in words, and particularly in words that our brain comprehends. And yet, how many languages are you actually able to speak? If we're learning right now that these heartbeats and the sound and the rhythm of these heartbeats is a form of communication and telepathy, allow your mind and that eternal essence of who you are to translate the sound of these heartbeats into form. Maybe there's a rhythm to them, like a binary: on, off, 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 on, a staccato that will somehow bridge the translation into your human form. Go ahead and envision a full 360 degrees, because it is a full circle of beings surrounding you and all heartbeats activating and coming on, and then feeling your own beginning to sync up, following that pulse and that rhythm. You have so many psychic gifts. And as they take us forward, it's almost as this body of energy is moving. There's a stone wall presenting itself before you. And this stone wall, much like a disc, massive, circular, a sun disc carved into this wall. The sun disc, not just looking like an astrological wheel, but the wheel for this dimensional realm that you are in, holding codes. And as it carries you, as you gaze at it, maybe placing a hand upon it, you feel yourself being projected back into another dimensional space and time, the time of the Mayans and the Aztecs and their discs. Feeling yourself instantly teleporting, traveling. Knowing that only your frequency holds the key to activating this wisdom and this magic that's here. Beginning to see this disc moving, hearing and feeling in your body the grinding of an ancient stone, the disc turning. And as it begins to spin faster and faster, a portal, again, of luminescent light activates. A tunnel, much like the one we came through, activates. And you find yourself drifting in, being sucked in like a vacuum. So you've just jumped down a slide at the water park. And yet this time you do feel the projection and the travel, winding your way down a neural network of the Piscean fields, of the consciousness of all that is. Coming back to earth, landing here and now. Seeing now from your body that portal, the other side of that portal, as though almost over to your left. Maybe it's to your right, but I'm seeing it to my left. That disc, the other side of that disc appearing, that dimensional space opening as though a portal of light is appearing, feeling this through your sensory body. Again, these psychic senses, there's so much noise in our world. And when we get quiet, when we listen in, we have the ability and the acuity and the wherewithal to sense and to feel and to open and to close. As you see this portal of light opening next to you, you feel yourself and your energy body, that dimensional space returning, activating, a wisdom brought back, a new dimensional ability to create coherent with your eternal soul. So we're upgrading the body that is your avatar with new programming, the ability to see the ones and zeros in the fields, the binary. You may find yourself tapping out a rhythm today. And while you may not know or need to know what it is, the Aoi, fire language, light language, moving through you. So often people experience suddenly having language, a new language on board, and speaking in tongue, speaking in fire language, or maybe a hand gesture or a series of hand gestures. What if your language is the movement of your hands? How often have you considered when your hands are moving, you're actually moving energy? Again, our human construct just doesn't give consciousness to all of these incredible subconscious activities that we are up to. So today, as we emerge from this Piscean activation, allow yourself to feel into the fields. Allow yourself to feel the frequency and expand outside of the box to recognize how much more frequency you are bringing into form without even being aware. It doesn't and it won't fit into the constructs that are human. The ways in which we've come to know the psychic senses and realms through the great gifted ones, whether it be through art or a specific person who is an incredible channel or a healer or even a ceremonialist. You have all of these skills here and now. It's just a matter of, much like learning how to ride a bike, how to use them, how to recognize that they already exist, and how can you turn the volume up? I'm here to tell you it's by simply listening. Listening with an ear that has maybe never heard that song from that songbird. Listening with the ear of a child who has just come and learning to use this body. Curiosity. Slowing down out of the matrix. It's all right here in front of you. Oh, we're in the Piscean field, so I could keep going on and on and on and on, but I am sure we are over our time. Oh my gosh, way over our time. My apologies. Help, happy Pisces, right? Ooh, all right, I'm going to bring you back. Let's do it. I don't want to come back, but today we get to, let's go ahead, rub our hand, draw all of this Piscean energy. Let's activate it with some fire, bring it into form. Breathing in, nice, powerful breath out, as though when you breathe in, you are drawing that watery energy in. allowing the hands to stop and the field to come into form between your hands, drawing it into your heart, giving your heart a squeeze, shaking out the wrists, rolling the shoulders, twisting through the spine. Welcome back, my loves. Namaste. So much love. Be sure to unhook, get in nature, listen today, simplify, throw the plans out the window. I promise they will come back, but there is something here in this field that you can grab onto and capture. That is the magic that you are seeking. That is the oomph that you are needing. We are in a completion phase. Harness it. Let things die. Let them, so that on the inhale, you can receive those ideas anew. And with that, namaste. So much love. In Lakesh, Ala Kim.